Hello, everybody. This is Patti Negri. Welcome to the Witching Hour. Yep, that hour of the day when the veil is thin and magic happens. I have some fabulous magic for you today. It's a new friend of mine. I actually just met him in Massachusetts at Massachusetts Paracon and fell in love with him and his ability. So let me introduce you to Scotty the Medium. Hi, Scotty.
Hey, Patti, how are you?
I am so good. I'm so thrilled to have you on. What we did, going into rooms and doing these different things was just like, oh, I like this guy doing a seance together.
Yeah,
So,
that was so fun.
yeah, so you are actually, I know you're big and everywhere and big on TikTok and social media, but you haven't been around decades like many of us. Where'd you come from? How'd this happen? Tell us
Oh
about
boy. So yeah, I have been what I guess you call like a natural born medium since I was little. I could just see spirit. But unfortunately, back in the day, this was not as open-minded as it is today. And basically if I talk to my folks about seeing ghosts, they'd be like, we don't talk about that stuff around here. It's weirding out the straight people. So I grew up pretty much my life just keeping it a secret until I was probably about 31 or 32 years old. So about 10 years ago, I had this really crazy experience where I was not looking to do anything in mediumship. I have a job in law enforcement. I finished a shift up. I went home. I was taking a shower, and all of a sudden, there was somebody in my head that didn't belong to me. And it was something I hadn't experienced in a long time. But something inside of me also said, listen to what this voice is telling you, listen to the things that they're giving you, write it down, and then you're going to carry this message to somebody, and it's important. And that was a strange feeling because I kind of thought I was losing my mind a little bit, but I also somewhere in here I just knew that it was the right thing to do. So I got out of the shower. So anybody who asks, yes, they do watch when you're in private time. Um, and I went to a notebook that I have to this day. It was the first reading that I ever did. I wrote the information down. It was for my mom's friend, and I called her and I said, "Is it okay if I tell you some information I think came from your dad? I know this sounds kind of strange, but it's really interesting to me because I'm very inquisitive anyway as a person. So I thought it'd be neat to see what would come of it." She agreed to it, so I went to her apartment and I met her, and I gave her a list of details, and she's like, "Well, this definitely sounds like my dad." And I said, "Okay, there's one thing that I'd really like to know." When he was giving me this information, I saw a photograph in my mind's eye, and it was a man in a tuxedo, a woman with brown short hair. She had pearls on, and she was wearing like a pink dress, and they're standing next to each other. And she said, "Well, let me ask my mom. She lives underneath me in the other apartment, and I'll have her come up." So her mom came up, and I explained the photo, and I said, "Oh, by the way, the woman's name I think is Anna." So mom said, "Oh my God, hold on one second." She came back upstairs after a couple minutes with a wedding album, blew the dust off of it, opened it up, and showed me the photograph that I had described. It was her late husband in his tuxedo next to his mother in the pink dress. Her name was Anna, and it was on their wedding day. So he gave me a photo in my brain that I've never seen in my entire life and said, "This is me on my wedding day." And I was like, he must be with his mom. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that. So that was the first reading that I had ever done. And from there, I was still kind of skeptical. So I kept trying to disprove that I could do this. But every time I do it, people were like, "Wow, this is incredible. You're really good at this, actually." So I just kept building off of that, and eventually it just was like, I guess I'm a medium. And since then, I've grown into so many other things, and it's brought me down amazing paths, including meeting awesome people like you, who I'd only ever seen on television and watched and wondered what you were doing, and it brought us together just about a month ago, right? So it's been an incredible path from kind of not believing to I'm all in, and let's have a good time with it and see what we can do with it.
That is fabulous. And I do love your energy. The spirit you have, because I read energies in people, and I do love when spirits show pictures. I love you're standing in front of a grass wall of what the but your energy, your enthusiasm, it's like you have a love of life that seems to get lost sometimes along the way with some of us in this profession. And you don't. You have that beautiful enthusiasm and joy. I remember you discovered some pretty amazing things, even for you when we were doing the seance in Massachusetts. It's like,
Yeah.
You're what's needed now. We're what's needed now in this new crazy world we're stepping into.
If we're doing this and we're looking at it in a negative light, it doesn't do any good. So if we look at it with enthusiasm in a positive way to bring people closer together, the living and the deceased, and beyond that, that's I think what we should be doing. As long as we're not stepping on anybody's beliefs or taking something away from them, and we're always just adding or giving them a new idea without hurting them, that's always the best thing for me. And I like being able to do that. So even when I come up against people who are skeptical, that it's good, be skeptical, but don't be mean about it. Be religious, but don't be mean about it. Be spiritual, don't be mean about it. Let's just have a nice conversation and be good to each other, because more is going to grow out of that. So and that speaks volumes to you. You're Patti Negri, one of the most well-known spiritual people in the entire planet, and you took a liking to me and invited me on your show, which I am still blown away. I was so excited. I've been talking about it for weeks.
Oh, that is so cool. That makes me so happy. I mean, I'm just me. I'm the same. But again, that same enthusiasm of, I like to just simply just be nice, because I always come up with all these words. I like just be nice about it.
Yeah, just be nice. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah. So, I mean, on my path, I'm obviously on a witchy path. I'm a pagan, obviously, by witching hour, and I'm known as a witch and all that. How is this the discovery of your, and again, I accept all. I have a school where I have 20 teachers, all different faiths and paths, from priests to vampires to everything along the way. How has your gift and changed your own religious or spiritual practice? Has it increased it, changed it?
Yeah, so I was born and raised Christian, Catholic. So we have those old school values that were put into me by the church and by my parents. But along the way, like a lot of people that practice religion, I was starting to lose my way. Something that I've been through in my life is I'm a former Marine. I've been deployed. I've seen some pretty horrific sorts of things. And sometimes your faith gets tested when you're like, this is humanity. Like, this is where we're at right now. So after that, I kind of started to step away from all of the religious stuff and wonder, like, what is there more? So once this gift started and I started to see these beautiful people come from the other side who had been down the same walks of life as me, other veterans, law enforcement officers, nurses, priests, witches, all kinds of people would come, and they'd be like, no, it's beautiful here. And we didn't have religious things weighing us down when we got here. It was okay. We were accepted by the universe. Everything was all good. And so that opened my heart up even more. So when I do meet people who are very religious, again, I don't try to take their belief, but I say it's okay to understand that there's more without stepping on the things that you were taught, or your values, because that's important to you. We don't want to take anything away. So it has, for me, made me grow into a much better, more kinder person, I think.
Beautiful. Yeah. It's just love, and they write songs about it and everything that we do. So, so you have huge social media presence. So people just love you. And I I think there's something about you, again, that's approachable isn't the right word, accessible. Those are all too light of words. And I think it's just your spirit. But I don't know. Did you go, I'm going to be a TikTok star? I'm going to be.
Hmm. No, I just keep getting really blessed with interesting things that are happening. So I started on social media a while ago when I was just trying to like get myself out a little bit more locally. We started with Facebook and Instagram, and those were okay. And then TikTok really is an interesting place because they seem to really value not just the person, but the content. So if you're really interested in something, it shows you that again and again. And if you're in front of somebody enough times and you're consistent and you have a positive message that makes them feel better about their day or their path, then they will follow and they will come and listen to what you have to say. So what I do on TikTok is just like what we're talking about now. I just try to stay as positive as possible, even in when things are dark or dreary, or somebody's telling me about the bad day they had, or somebody passed away, or they had to put their pet to sleep. I know those are very traumatic events for people, and I can understand that because I'm also a human being. So we don't try to discard anybody's feelings. We understand and we say, I understand you. And if you need a safe place that you can always be understood, this is a community, not just me. We're all in this together. And if you want to be a part of that, just come and follow along and we'll do that. So that's how my TikTok has grown. And doing live videos and talking to people one-on-one has really been tremendous. And I think it's a really, really great gift that social media has given us. Because otherwise, I'd probably just be the crazy guy in town, just being nice and smiling at everybody.
I know. I love that too. And I see, actually, the kids and stuff. We get to create what we want now. We get to. You don't have to wait for somebody to give you a job. You don't have to wait for anything. That is such power. In
Yes, that is 100% right. And that's something I try to tell younger kids. I have some of my own. I have a 22-year-old daughter and then some younger kids than that. And I always try to tell them, when I was coming up through the world, you had to wait for somebody to give you an opportunity. There was somebody in the way saying, you're not good enough. That doesn't exist anymore. Some places it does, but where the people like us who are creative and kind and want to spread really nice messages, we can just turn on our laptop or our phone and spread that. And we can put out whatever message we want. So if you are authentic and that's really what you mean, then people are going to understand that and they will come over. So it's funny that you said that I was like approachable or whatever. And I've always said that from the day I started doing mediumship. I said, I've seen some people out there that are a little not my kind of brand. They're a little bit unapproachable. They're a little scary or spooky. And I said, I want to be everybody's friend. So I keep a nice clean appearance. I try to be as happy as I can. And I do let people know I'm like you. I had bad days and that's okay. But I'm not going to dump my problems on you. I'm here to listen and we'll get through it together. And that's been the success so far of TikTok.
That's beautiful. And again, and we're in these crazy times as my chimes go off, as we coming out of the pandemic, slowly coming out of the pandemic, do you notice more people are turning to different forms of spirituality and mediums and want to just know there's something to more? To me, it's just they just need to know there's something more, whether it's going back to their traditional religion or new age or spirituality or just the paranormal. I mean, we met at a paranormal conference. It's not just we're at a spirituality, we're talking to ghosts. I think people just need to know there's more. So
absolutely, that is part of why I do the type of mediumship that I do, which is evidentiary mediumship. So anybody can say, hey, I'm connecting with your grandma, she brought these delicious cookies. That's fine, but really what has driven me is for myself, the evidence of afterlife is your grandma's here. And this is a true story. I went blind. I was doing a reading for somebody and I went blind out of my left eye for a moment. And then I saw glass shatter and I said, oh, this is your grandmother. She was blind in her left eye, and I believe that she got glass in it, and that's why she was blind. And the person I was reading for said, oh my God, yeah, when she was about 20 years old, she dropped a jar and it exploded, and a piece of glass hit her right in the eye, and she was blind after that. So those, and just going back to the first example of the photograph, something I could never have seen. So there is consciousness beyond this physical body that can communicate with those of us who are open, which, by the way, if you're listening to this, you all have this ability. It's just a matter if you're going to be brave enough to listen to it and understand that it's a journey to get better at it. And the better you are, the more at peace you're going to feel, because you're going to know that your ego can sit back and there's going to be more after this and you're going to be okay.
Yeah. And I was, yeah, 100%. I do believe we're born with it. And I do believe in our modern Western non-mystical society, everything that focuses on our left logical brain and not our magic, art, creative, intuitive, psychic side of things. But I was going to have you explain what an evidential medium, but you sort of just did, because some people are going, wait, what's that? I have a lot of new people going, so there's trans medium, there's evidential. So you really go, blind in her left eye. There's not a way you can.
Right. There's no mincing words. And that was how I got the first message. So it was the path I continued down anyway. So, and it makes sense for me because on one hand, I am very logical, law enforcement, right? Find the clues, get the evidence, build a case. Here's the proof. Is it proof, right? Can we bring it to a court of law? Obviously, mediumship doesn't work exactly like that, but it's very similar. So if I bring you enough very valid and specific clues about somebody, we can say, that this is evidence that this is them. And I'm not just, pulling details of randomness out of nowhere that don't add up. So it's very important to me because I don't want to waste your time or mine. And I always tell my followers or anybody that listens that the day that I wake up and it's completely off and it stops working, hang up my shoes on the psychic part and we'll be done. But until then, we're just going to keep continuing on and bringing positive messages through evidentiary mediumship, which is so amazing. But it also brings me to other stuff because when we met, I said to you, you were talking about taking salt showers, using salt in the shower, and carving little sigils into the soap and stuff. What's so funny is I stood in front of your table and I was like, there are things that you talked about in your lecture that I just naturally did, and I was like, kind of like maybe I have some of those manifestation abilities as well. And hearing you say it really gave me more confidence to believe that that is a true statement.
Yeah, it is in us. Just like I do think we're all born with the gift, whatever you want to call it. I think we all have that intuition, that instinct, like animals did it, but we lost ours. We have it. It's like so many people, it's like, do a breath or run your hands under. I do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Early man knew it. It just got taught out of us. I was picking herbs and bushes in my suburban Los Angeles backyard and stuffing them in my mom's purse, knowing exactly which ones would give her money. She didn't understand completely why I was stuffing weird things in her wallet, but I didn't know why I did. I hadn't read it in a book. Years later, when you read it in a book, yeah, it was the rosemary, it was the mint, it was whatever. But I think that's what, like, people like you and I give people, broaden our thinking outside what you can see. It's what you feel, what you sense, what you know. Now, do you do again and again? It's getting in touch with who we are. We are our best tool out there now. So, do you stay with evidentiary? Like, do you do any trance mediumship? Do you do any?
I do some channeling from time to time, but that is very, as you might know, taxing. But sometimes there are spirits that want to come through and they want to be so authentically them that they don't want the translator in the middle. And we have to make a deal before I do that. I always say, you have about 5 minutes. You can say what you need to say, but then you have to leave because I can't handle you and me at the same time. And I've done that a handful of times, and it's such an interesting experience because I don't know if you've ever done a channel like that before, but when I come out of it and people are crying or maybe they're a little upset because of what their relative said, I always have to say, like, remember, your relative came through and said this. This has nothing to do with me. I kind of just let them use my mouth. And that is the boundary for me. I really don't go any further than that because I don't want to lose myself. Because it's interesting to be afraid of that.
Because you don't want to bring fear into our practice at all. I do trance mediumship, and I have, especially like, because we both live in the media world and TV. It's like they don't want you to channel sweet grandma. It's like the serial killer. It's the mass murderer. So it's like, I'm only going to give you this % of my body, and then what might be in there fighting for it. It is weird. Somebody else, 10%, 20%, whatever that is. Exactly. I set boundaries and like, you can do this and not this. And if, say, in a circle or whatever, if one person is really afraid of that, I don't want to do it. I don't want to bring fear into it. I will, okay, grandma wants to come through maybe, but I'm just going to translate for her instead versus her camera. I remember one of my best friends not too long ago, and she's a witchy girl. She's a spiritual girl. She has a path. All of a sudden, my face like literally became her mother's face. Like the muscle structure sort of moved, and she ran out of the room. It's like, wait, oh, come back. Yeah, and that happened. And once I was doing, and this was really weird. It was actually the Cecil Hotel. Gibber, because you don't remember very much. It's like a dream that you half remember, don't remember. But I thought I was talking. I thought I was channeling. I was rocking. I rock. And I thought I was talking. All they heard was gibberish. And Corey, one of the YouTubers I work with, he goes, "We should play that backwards." They played it backwards. I was speaking English backwards.
What?
I know.
Whoa.
I put that on my resume. That is a talent because That is weird because I do see the other side is very reversed image, but
Right.
I can't even do my alphabet backwards. I can't. If somebody pulled me over for drinking, it's like I haven't drank, but I can't do my alphabet backwards. The X, Y, Z. I can't mix words and letters. So
So I have a friend who's a medium, and she told me her clairaudience works in reverse, and she has to kind of listen to it and then play it back forwards and watch the words play out in front of her so she understands what they're saying. So how interesting that it came through you backwards. There
yeah,
must be some sort of reversal. That's very
yeah.
interesting. I've never heard that before.
The computer didn't translate it in between. I've never done it before, and I've never done it since. But I do. Again, evidential is great. Like Cindy Keza as a friend, she's a evidential down to the color of your panties is great. I
Right.
would say I dance. I've been doing it for so long. I don't even can't even label myself because I'll do a little bit of everything. But you do. I even actually ask spirit for something evidential at first, so you know it really is okay.
Right.
Left eye, whatever. Even a photo of this in front of, just so they, because you have to earn their trust. It's
Yeah,
not, and the
100%.
butterflies come in every Tuesday. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Yep, that's what one of the things I always say. I'm like, the signs that come from people. If you believe that the cardinal and the butterflies is your grandma or your mom or your dad, that's awesome. But let me have a conversation with them and let them tell me about their favorite song, their favorite sports car, their favorite restaurants. Let them tell me something that only you and they would know and not me, and make it very specific so that we can have that trust. Because after that, when I tell you that they are sending an apology or they're saying I love you or they're giving some sort of personal information, now we have that trust built that I've told you something that is absolutely between the two of you, and now you can understand the rest of the messages without doubting what is coming through and feel better about the information that's happening, right?
Right. That's
Yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful. And again, your gift is beautiful and sweet, and I've seen it in action. So how did you get to, or did it just fall in because we talked to dead people, the paranormal world, which again is slightly different than just the medium?
So that happened because I had my own paranormal experiences in the town I live in, and I was having trouble grasping why they kept happening, especially since they were different than the mediumship things. They were a little bit more violent or a little bit more aggressive is probably the right way to put it. So I reached out to a paranormal team in my town, and I said, "Hey, I'm having these experiences, but I'm also a medium, but I need some people that have equipment and experience in the field of going into locations and understanding why a haunting is happening and why that they would pick on me or somebody like me." So I fell in with that group, and I worked with them for many years. Eventually, I took it over, and it's kind of mine now. But basically, from my own experiences and them helping me, I said, this is another avenue that I should be applying myself to because it's all the things that I love: looking for clues, understanding people, understanding the other side, solving a mystery, and putting the puzzle together. So it really just spoke to me as a person. So the paranormal is just something that's so cool, and I don't think we'll ever have all the answers as living people. So it always is evolving and keeping me guessing. So that again, when I watch folks like you or Cindy on television, I'm like, yes, they're doing good work, and I love the way they're doing it because it's the way I would want to do it. So it makes me happy to see that there's lots of us in the spotlight and behind it doing the same work, and it makes me feel nice.
Yeah, yeah. And it gives whoever's watching it go, oh wow, there's it opens up a light bulb, more possibility. What's out there? What can we do? Or, there's more to
Yeah,
life than this. That's I say that every day. Like, there's more to life than this.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
there's beautiful things. So you're you're in the New Jersey area, right? You're Scotty, the New Jersey medium, but you do
Yeah,
travel a lot. I do know that. Do you have
yeah.
anything coming up where people could be seeing you coming up in the holidays or New Year?
Oh boy, not until the only thing I have scheduled right now is the Gettysburg Bash in July.
Okay.
That's my thing. I always have to keep my calendar kind of short because of my regular job. I have to be able to meter myself and know what days I'm going to have off. But that one I already told my boss, like, I'm going to this whether I'm working that weekend or not. I'm going to take vacation and go. So that's the one thing that I have definitely coming up. But for anybody, if you want to see me, I'm live on TikTok at least 6 or 7 times a week for an hour, and it's just kind of like this. We talk. I might do a couple readings for folks. Just bring some happiness.
He's brilliant, you guys. Check it out. On social media, it's definitely on TikTok. I fell in love. So you have law enforcement, and you like the dance between the fact and measure. Have you done any like crime cases with your mediumship, or missing person cases, or cold cases,
Yeah.
or cases?
There's only one so far that I agreed to take because it is on your end of the world over there in California. It's a cold case for a young woman named Dina McCann. She went missing actually 41 years ago, almost to the day, here in December. She went missing from Lodi, California, and the family contacted me via Instagram, just kind of taking a shot in the dark. They were asking a bunch of mediums. I gave them a bunch of information that didn't pan out at first, and then they got a private investigation team together, and they listened to my recording, and they were like, actually, all these things that are saying really jive with the case really well. So they contacted me. They brought me out to California. There was a bunch of revelations that are still happening as to the locations, the people involved. And we're just waiting for another opportunity for me to come out. We convinced local law enforcement there that I think we have a good spot to look, and the people who own the land gave us permission, if we have a cadaver dog come out and hit on a location, that we have permission to dig. So we have a lot of things working together well, and I think that my connection and being so grounded as a person into law enforcement has given those folks over there in California a little bit of ease, knowing that I'm pretty on the level. I've been vetted a bunch of times, and I'm really just doing this because I want to help the family bring somebody home. Then it was so nice. They paid for my plane ticket and put me up in a place to stay while I was there, and that's it. And I just did my thing, and it's really really nice. And we did a reading for the family where their sister came through. And I think that we're really going to get to the bottom of it. Unfortunately, the main suspect in this case passed away about a year and a half ago. But even with that, you want to hear something really creepy? Yeah, of course. And I'm sure your audience does too. So the private investigator in the team that was driving me around while I was out there back in August is not into the paranormal. She's not somebody who's like us. We were going up to the suspected killer's home where he used to live. And on the way up there, she became violently ill. Now, I didn't tell her that I felt like this was an attack from the other side because I don't want to spook her from the case. So she got so sick, as a matter of fact, that on the way up, we had to pull over, and she had to go outside the car. And I don't know if I want to gross everybody up, but she had to throw up, vomit. And then she was like, I don't know what's going on with me. Like, I don't know why I feel this way. And I was like, I know why, because we're on the right trail. So this guy's trying to thwart us any way we can. So after we went up to the house and did a little of investigating, we left, and she started to feel better. And then I let her in on the fact that you felt that way because he was definitely pushing in on the most vulnerable person here, which is you. Because I'm not afraid of him, but you just didn't know that that's what he was doing. And then from that day on, unfortunately, she was having a lot of ear problems as well after that. So he really gave her a good push from the other side. But it definitely tells me that we're on the right path, and that we're going to continue on it. And hopefully soon we'll be able to locate her. So if anybody wants to check that out, I have a YouTube channel that we've done a little bit on that so far, and there's going to be more coming. So it's just Scotty the Medium as well if they want to check it out.
Check it out. I will subscribe. I love my YouTube. Yeah, because I'm thinking the law enforcement thing, because I know some law enforcement are very open to that and help even on live cases, some not so much.
Yeah.
But you have that background, you have the cloud in both. I've never done that either. Somebody called me about a way cold case, 100-year-old case in, I think, Indiana, that won't die. Actually, I think somebody's doing a movie on it. And I had never done that before. I kind of went trans-state the way I do it. And I was seeing this stuff. It's like, I'm making this part up, but it was like, oh, east of town, water, hunting shack. There is no water east of town. I'm like, oh, I'm wrong. But they looked at 100 years ago, it was water east of town. They had dammed something up. So it's like, wow, that's so
fun.
Time and space. That's weird. I don't even think
that's what gave us our markers for the California case, because the things that I described are not there anymore. But we spoke to the landowner, and they're like, yeah, that used to be right here. You're standing right next to where that particular landmark used to be. And they were like, I tell everybody I was 4 months old when she went missing. So certainly I know, and I am
Right.
from New Jersey. I know nothing. So it was really interesting that that is the sort of thing that we want because as law enforcement officers, they need facts. They can't bring your vision to court, right? So
Right.
we need facts and evidence. So I always say we're good tools as mediums and psychics to like point them in the right direction. But on the other side of it, the law enforcement side, I need the clue. I need it to be physical. I need a witness. I need a confession, something to bring to court so that we can prosecute the right person. And unfortunately, visions don't do it, but it can put us in the right path. So when people ask me, like, do they ever intersect? I say, nope. Law enforcement, when I'm in my uniform, is law enforcement, and Scotty the Medium is Scotty the Medium. And only every once in a while do I go into one or the other for a brief moment if I think it will help.
That's fascinating. I love that. Anyway, I have so many questions, but the time. You're just going to have to come back. Will you come back?
I'll come back anytime
Okay.
you ask me to come back. Are you
Okay,
kidding?
that is awesome. So again, one more time, tell people where they can find you, website, your TikTok, anything else.
Sure. Anybody who's looking for me, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You can find me, just Google Scotty the Medium, and you will find all of my things. It's nice and easy. Patti, thank you very much for having me on. It's such a pleasure. It was so awesome meeting you. I felt like as soon as I saw you, I was like, oh, she is the awesomest. I knew it. And you're going to be the awesomest forever.
Well, it's a mutual admiration society. We'll go with that. Okay. So thank you for bringing your magic to a witching hour.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yay.